Scott rolling in with head men's basketball coach Josh Schertz for our weekly report. Coach, we got a lot to talk about. Only one game on the schedule this week, but still a ton to talk about. Came out of last week with two big wins, very different wins, I should say. First look back on that game on Wednesday in Hickory, North Carolina. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and it ended up going down as one of the all-time instant classics, not only in the history of this program, but probably of all the programs here at Lincoln Memorial. Just talk about that game. 4 overtime thriller, win it over Lenore-Ryan, 123-122.
Well, it was, obviously probably in my 18 years doing this, the best game I've been a part of. Never been a part of a 4 overtime game. Just unbelievable amount of respect for the players on both teams. You know, you walk out of that gym and how hard kids on both sides fought. A tremendous respect for Lenore-Ryan, their program, what Ryan and those guys are building. To get down 20 in the second half and rally back, their shot making, Will Perry and others was quite remarkable. Our guys get down 4 with under a minute to go, so it was a 24-point swing in 16 minutes, and for our guys to rally and to make plays down the stretch and overtime, and then in the overtimes. There was scenarios where they had to make a play to stay in it down the stretch, and we had to make a play to stay in it down the stretch to stay in the game and not lose. And every time somebody did, and it seemed we had control of it there in the 4th overtime. I think it was 121-115, and just a couple of kind of bonehead plays, lack of execution stuff. Lost our poise a little bit against their press, and they miss a shot, tip it to half court, and bury a big 3 there to go up 1 with 15 seconds to go, 18 seconds to go, and our guys came down and we had no timeouts, but put the ball in Jarrell Simmons' hands with some space, and he made a terrific play and a big time shot to win the game. So it was everything that was good with college basketball. Both teams fought their brains out. A lot, you could have had a chance to let go at almost any time in that game and say, well, it's early December, it's important, but there's bigger things down the line. But neither team, seeded. Both teams just kept scratching and clawing, and you look at it after the game, and we're getting ready to board the bus, and there was a number of guys on my team that had to be helped, to the bus, and we had guys lay on the floor, full body cramping, all kinds of stuff on the way home. So it was it was exhausting, exhilarating, but I would have had unbelievable respect for the guys in my locker room and the guys in Lenore-Ryan's locker room. Win or lose, one point either way didn't change how good a game that was for 60 minutes. So I was privileged to be a part of it, and certainly was one that'll go down in my memory banks as obviously just an outstanding game both ways.
Well, we could dwell on that forever, and your guys really could have done that too, but the big storyline going in was 2 days later you had to turn around and face a Coker team who, we know all about that team, gritty team, and you were really worried about the depth concerns going into that after such a grueling game at Lenore-Ryan, and then we took a big blow with 3 guys having to miss 3 rotation players sitting out that game. But you go into Coker, take care of business at least defensively, hold them to 29% shooting, and you come away with that victory. And you told me before the game that was a game that you just wanted to whether it be 1 point or 50 points, you just wanted to come out with a victory, and you did that day.
Yeah, it was one of those games you're going into, and you have a game like you had at Lenore-Ryan. Our bus overheats on the way back, so we break down. We had to get a second bus in. We don't get back till past 4 in the morning. On Thursday, guys are in class. You're just sitting there as you get towards, guys are exhausted mentally, exhausted physically. Curtis Webb had gotten hurt in one of the overtimes. They all kind of run together now, but he had gotten hurt in one of the overtimes. And then, Tim Pierce tweaks his ankle on Friday, and then Nixon Blanc on Saturday, his shoot around, his back seizes up, and so he'd been battling that a little bit anyway, but it was bad Saturday. So you're sitting there and you're just like, and then from a mental standpoint, guys like Jarrell, Dorian, Jalen, Luquan, you're wondering how much they have in the tank. So was really happy. It was a team win. Hunter Spall really sparked us. He's a guy that's you're glad to see have success. He came as and been here 3.5 years. Has very rarely gotten in, and those are probably honestly his first real meaningful minutes since he's been here. But he redshirted his freshman year. He's come in with that group with Luquan and Webb and Paul, and to watch him go out and play with unbelievable confidence and make plays, and really, he was probably our best player in the first half. Which was incredible. I thought we got performances from a lot of bench guys. Paul Woodson was outstanding. Curtis McMillian, a lot of guys came in, contributed, did really good things for us, and it was a really good team win because you look at Jalen gets 2 fouls in the first 80 seconds of the game. So he plays 9 minutes the whole night because the second half I don't think he wasn't very good. Dorian really struggled. Jarrell looked like he was running in quicksand. Lou was the only guy who had played significant minutes who was able to kind of find that gear in that game, and the rest of it was the bench. And we defended well, and guys came out and executed, and was happy to get through that one. It was a grueling week with those 2 games. Coker's very physical, very athletic. We did a really good job first half. Gardner did a great job first half on the backboards. Second half we've talked about that we've got to continue to find a way to play a 40-minute game, which we really haven't done to completion yet. But I was pleased to walk out of there with a win, and happy for the team because, like I said, it was certainly without question a team victory on Saturday against Coker.
Well, we had mentioned on the front end that this was a short week here, and it couldn't have really come at a better time. You host Bluefield College here on Wednesday. But then, other than that, you had yesterday and today free, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, really. So it's that rare practice time and in the season where you get to rest and recover, and also work on stuff that you see needs to be fixed up.
Yeah, it's a week. Certainly, you have to prepare for Bluefield. I mean, any game that you play, and certainly they're a good team. They come in, I think 8-5, and it's going to be challenging. They present a lot of different things. They play, 4 or 5 different defenses and mix and match, and so executing against changing defense, and then they press a little bit, and then offensively. They're not super complicated, but they run good stuff they have good players and put them in good situations. So, we'll need to be, we spend time certainly preparing and getting ourselves ready to try to go against what we're going to see tomorrow night. But certainly with this week and the last 2 days, and then certainly moving forward on Thursday, win or lose, we have a lot of things we've got to clean up. When you get a chance right now after kind of 7 games in a 3.5 week span since we started, and we've been really tested. We played really good teams. I mean, you look at it across the board. We've played a really tough schedule here through the first 3.5 weeks. So we've got truth in terms of things where we're strong at, and then obviously areas we can clean up. And the areas we can clean up are pretty simple. We've obviously got to have a massive improvement relative to we foul too much. We're 12th in the conference in fouls per game, so learning to play without putting people on the free throw line, that's a huge inefficiency from a defensive standpoint. Our offensive execution can get way better. Understanding what we're trying to get done offensively, getting deeper into the layers of the offense and what we can run to, and just generally understanding what we're what we're in, and guys executing at a higher level, press break, et cetera, et cetera. Defensively, there's a lot of areas to clean up as well. Our transition defense can get light years better. We turned the ball over way too much the last 2 games, 32 times total in the last 2 games. We were averaging about 10 turnovers a game coming into this week, and then we turned over 14 times, which is skewed a little bit at Lenore Ryan because you play 60 minutes. But 18 times against Coker, against no pressure, just guys being careless and casual and trying to make home run plays that aren't there. So there's a lot for us from a self-evaluation standpoint to clean up if we're going to become a good team. We're still a long way away from that, but guys have been pretty engaged, pretty focused. Understand that we have some good things we've done, but obviously everything that we want to do is ahead of us, and the schedule's obviously exceptionally challenging. Almost any little time frame you look at, obviously. I look at it through a very myopic view, in a one-game scenario. But even if you look there's no where you're like, oh, this is a time to kind of get it together. So utilize this practice time, get better, and then get ready to take on the challenges to come.
Well, and the challenges to come are great, obviously, because after this week you host Bluefield tomorrow night, and then it's a 4 days free. Well, not free, but to really just self-evaluate and prepare, because then you get a grueling stretch where you play next week, Monday at Brevard, Wednesday back here against Wingate, and then Saturday you take a long trip to Newberry, and those are two of the three better teams in this conference, which is shown that from top to bottom it's just going to test you night in, night out. So talk about that challenge.
Yeah, no, there's no question. You're going to have to spend those 4 days kind of vacillating between stuff you got to do to fix, to improve your own team, and then obviously prepping for really three kind of different type of challenges. Brevard presents, Lee does an outstanding job in difficult circumstances. He's one of the really truly better coaches in Division II basketball. There's no question. A guy gets the most out of it, in terms of getting the most out of the talent that he has available. They're hard to prepare for. Princeton offense, execute it extremely well. Matchup zone, they do what they do, and they're very unique. So that's unique preparation. You come back and you play that night. You get back and you basically tip off again in 36 hours against Wingate. And Wingate is really, I've had a chance to just watch them in bits and pieces right now, but Brian has really changed his style. They're still terrific defensively. I mean, a Brian Good team is always going to be an outstanding defensive basketball team, but he's gone to a 4-out spread dribble drive, playing Curitin at the 4. They've got, we talked early in the year in the preseason show, they got a transcendent freshman in Mike Baez, who I think is the best freshman I've seen come in the league. I thought that in the summer, and nothing's changed my mind about what he's doing right now in his freshman year. They've got, solid bigs, but they're just, Xavier Griffin, those guys are spreading the floor, driving you, trying to get downhill, and they're averaging, I think, 85 points a game, and they've only lost once, and that was at Lenore-Ryan against an outstanding Lenore-Ryan team. So they've beaten two top 20 teams, Mount Olive and Pembroke. At the time, I think Mount Olive was 6, Pembroke was 20. So Brian's got a team that's very capable of winning the South Atlantic Conference Championship. And then you go to Newberry, which is a unique preparation of itself. And so really, with Dave's style, they've had a good start. I think they're 6-2 right now. Went in and beat a terrific Carson Newman team at Carson Newman, turned them over 28 times, made 16 threes. The game before that, they've shattered the conference record, made 22 threes themselves. So last 2 games, they've knocked down 38 threes. Dave, they racehorse the basketball, play unbelievably fast, press, turn you over. And so the week is challenging in a lot of ways. It's physically challenging in terms of 2 road games, very short turnarounds. You're going to play Monday night, have to really be light Tuesday, play Wednesday. You almost can't do anything Thursday because you played 2 games in 48 hours and have a 1-day preparation for a really good Newberry team. So it's a very be mentally and physically challenging week. Our guys are going to have to be up to the task and find a way to get it done. And because you come out of that week and you're either in good shape, you're in a hole, or you're somewhere in between. So we can't do anything about the schedule. We got to play the games when they tell us. So we have to try to do the best we can to prepare as well as we can and give ourselves a shot. And we'll have to play very well, though, to be competitive in all 3 of those games. Boschhammer's a difficult place to play. Wingate's one of the best teams in the region and certainly in our league, and I think Newberry's right alongside of them. So looking forward to the challenge, but going to be very difficult. So we'll have to be a much better basketball team certainly Monday than we are at this point to have a chance to be competitive in those games.